Hey YouTube! I had to move some stuff around, so I don't think that it's exactly centered the way that it was in my previous videos, but hopefully it's close enough. I tried to set you guys up pretty much the same, but like I said, I had to move a couple of things around in my house, so you're close-ish to where the camera has been, but anyway, enough of that. Today is the day that we are getting to our turtles. I have them all ready for printing. I've set up their page, and so I'm hoping that I'm gonna just run over there to the office and we'll get them printed out, and fingers crossed everything goes good. I haven't checked my Cricut Maker work, Cricut, what's it called? The Cricut Space? I don't know. The app for setting all that up. I haven't checked if it has any updates, so hopefully I don't have to do any updates. I don't know. I guess we'll see whenever we get over there, and if I do have some updates, then I'll just have to do the updates. But I am now to the point where we can do our turtles, and so I am excited to show you guys those turtles. I think that they came out good. I am not super into turtles for like reptiles and amphibians and things. I think turtles are very cute, but I'm not super educated on them. So I'm hoping that they look accurate enough for the people who actually do enjoy turtles. I did try my best to make sure that they look like they should while still kind of staying in the style that I have kind of cultivated, that's semi-realistic, semi-simplistic. So hopefully I have enough of their details in the designs that it still is cute and still accurate enough. I think that they are, but like I said, I'm not super well versed in turtles. I like looking at them whenever I go to shows or when I see videos. I think that they're very cute, but I'm not as educated on them as I am on some of the other reptiles. So with all that out of the way though, and all my rambling about turtles, we'll head over to the office and I will show you guys the 3 turtles that I decided to start with, and we'll start printing them out. Like I said, hopefully there's not any updates, but if there is, then we will do the updates and then get to printing. But let's go ahead and head over to the office to get started. Alright, I'm at the office and I've already set up all of my devices, my Cricut cutter, my Canon printer, and I already have my laptop on. I've already opened up my Cricut Canvas makerspace just to see. I wanted to see if I needed to update anything, and it doesn't look like I need to update anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and get, I guess, some paper out for us to start printing out these new turtles. And the one that I'm gonna start with, I think I'll end up needing to do 2 sheets of but we will see what happens when we print the first one, if it looks good or not. And the very first turtle that I decided to do is actually not technically a turtle, but a tortoise. I decided that I would start with a sulcata tortoise. Sulcatas are very popular, and a lot of people end up getting them as pets and not realizing that they live a long time. You end up having to like write them into your will and things if you're not careful with what you get as a pet. Then some people don't realize that about them, but I got started with sulcata tortoises since they are very popular. They're also kind of big. They're the ones that you probably see like at the zoo, or even at like maybe birthday events or just events in general. They're like quite large. Little kids can even like ride on top of them sometimes. They're also, I think they're called the African spiked knee tortoise or something like that. Let me look it up because I don't want to tell you guys wrong. African spurred. I was like, spiked doesn't sound right. Spurred, African spurred tortoise, or a sulcata. I think most people know them as sulcatas. I never knew that they had a different name, honestly. But let me flip you guys around so I can show you my sulcata that I did. So let me see. Here he is, my little sulcata. I think he came out really cute. I didn't make the spikes or the spurs on his leg super pronounced and like stick out. I have a bunch of references that I grab each time I make a sticker, and like if I go to this one specifically, you can kind of see that they stick out past the leg, really. It's not like smooth flush with the leg. They're usually kind of like really spiky, really poking out. And I think it also depends on like how old the tortoise is as well, how prominent and pronounced the spurs are on the leg. But I thought that it might look kind of weird trying to make its leg do that, so I just kind of gave it almost like these scales that indicate the spurs but don't really mess with the silhouette, and I think it's okay. I don't know how other people that actually are into turtles and tortoises would feel about that or not, but the rest of him I think is very nice, very cute. I really like how his shell came out, actually. I don't know why that is like the specific thing that I'm like, oh, that looks nice. but that, for some reason, that's like sticking out to me right now. I'm like, I really like how I did the highlights on that. It looks nice. So anyway, this is the one I'm gonna start with first. So I will get him printed out. I was only able to, I think, fit 5 on a sheet at a time. So I'm gonna do the first sheet and we'll see how that goes. And then I'll print out a second one of these, but I probably won't put that in the video. And we'll move on to the next one. after the sulcata. But this is the very first one that I decided to start with because I know that, like I said, sulcatas are very popular. They're very iconic. Like, as soon as you see one, you're like, oh, I recognize that, even if you don't know the name of them. So that definitely was one of the ones that I wanted to start with first. So I guess without further ado, I will go ahead and get this guy printed out. Well, I was all ready to go and it had said that everything was good, and then I clicked print and it popped up with an update. So I guess my machine does need to update. Hopefully it's not one of those really big ones that I end up having to do the paper for, where it takes like 3 different times of it realigning itself, but that kind of sucks. I was all ready and excited and I clicked print and I thought it was just gonna go, and it instead popped up an update. But oh well. That's just what happens sometimes. So I guess once this update is done, then I will come back with the sulcata tortoise printed out, hopefully, and not having to do any of those pesky realignment papers. Alright guys, our sulcata tortoises just finished printing out. So let me go ahead and flip you guys around so I can show you how they look. I have not moved the page yet, but I think just from a little quick glance, they look good. So let me flip you around. Okay, so here they are, our little sulcatas. Let me turn them this way so that they don't dry bent. But here they are. As you can see, I was only able to get 5 on this page, but I think that they actually came out really good. And of course, I will get them laminated and get them cut out, and we'll see how they look once they're officially a sticker. But I think everything printed out good on them. So I will end up needing to do probably a second page of these guys, but I'm gonna, as always, let them sit here and dry while I do some other stuff. And then I will get them laminated and we'll move on to the next sticker. Alright guys, they have cut out, and I'm hoping that they cut out centered. I can't tell just yet, so I'm a little nervous. Let me see. Okay, I think that they cut out centered, but again, I can't quite tell until we do this. Okay. Let me pull off the first one. And I think that it actually did do a really good job centering that guy. I just was a little bit nervous because I couldn't tell. And then also my Cricut ended up having that update right as I clicked print for my print to cut. So that made me a little bit nervous as to how they would come out, but it looks like they all came out good with this first batch. So I will do my second batch of these little guys, but I think that they came out really good. I'm very happy with how they came out, and I guess that means that we will move on to our second turtle, although this is a tortoise, but the other two are turtles. So we will move on to our turtles. So my turtle that we are going to be doing for our starting of this section of the shop is actually going to be a red-eared slider, which you guys have also probably seen a lot. They're very iconic, very popular as a turtle pet because they are aquatic, and they have a little like red stripe right where you would imagine an ear would be on their head. Sometimes it's a little more stripy, sometimes it's more of like a little blob splot, but I will turn you guys around so I can actually show you how the sticker turned out, and you guys can see. I think that this one also came out very good, very cute. I don't know if it's just me or if it really is like he looks a little weird, but I'm like, is he a little stubby? Is his body shape quite right? I can't tell, but I think it's just because, again, I don't know a whole lot of information about turtles. I know how they look visually, but I don't know a whole lot about them, and so to me, I think that all of them just ended up looking a little bit off. But I think that's also with me trying to do my style with a turtle. I didn't realize that they would look a little funny to me. But let me turn you guys around, and maybe it's just me. Maybe you guys will be like, no, that is how all these turtles / tortoises are supposed to look. So let me flip you around. So here is the red-eared slider, and I think everything about him looks good. It's just, I'm like, is his body a little too small? Like, is his head too big? I don't know, I can't really tell. Because also, my references for this guy, they kind of have different body shapes. Like if he's a baby, then definitely the head's a lot bigger, but if he's a big guy, then yeah, the shell would be a little bit bigger, but I feel like the head still is kind of proportionate to the body in this kind of way. So I think that it's right. It just feels off somehow to me, and I don't quite know what it is, but everything else about him I like. I like his little feet. His stripes I think are good. I love the pattern on his shell. I think that came out really good. So overall, I like how he came out. I'm just a little bit on the fence about, is his body and head proportioned correctly or not? But even then, not enough to where I would be like, oh, this is not good enough for a sticker. Because I still think that overall, it's a success. It's just, to me, when looking at it, I'm always kind of like, is he quite right? I think he is, but that always is the initial thought in my head is he? Because red-eared sliders, I think, are also one of those turtles that where people get them as pets, and I'm pretty sure they grow to the size of their enclosure. So there's not going to be a specific, oh, this is how big it would be and this is how it would look necessarily. So at least the references that I found, like I said, they were kind of all over the place if they were big or small. And if they're a baby, then definitely the proportions are different than if they're an adult. So I think I found a good mix of balancing his body and his head. So I think that this is okay. Again, my first thought when I see him is always, is that quite right? But I think it is quite right. I think this is right. But this is the second one that I chose to do, which is the red-eared slider. As I said before, very popular turtle as a pet. A lot of people, whenever starting off with a reptile or even just in general a pet, this is what they get, the little red-eared slider. And they're aquatic, so you just keep them in their little tank. They swim around. You've probably seen them everywhere. You can see them in the wild too. Oh, my laptop, there we go. So this is the next little guy. I'm gonna go ahead and get him printed out, and we will see how he looks as a sticker. But I think that he will look very cute as a sticker, and I'm hoping that that is the case. But I think he's gonna look good either way because, like I said, very popular, so somebody's gonna think that it looks good. So let me go ahead and get him started, and I'll come back to you guys once he is printed out. The red-eared sliders are done printing out, and it looks like they're going to need to dry. They're a little bit dark. I don't know if you can tell or not. The green is a little bit dark on their body, and the shadow on their shells is a little bit darker. So they'll definitely need to dry a little bit, but I think that they came out looking good. I don't see any issues with them other than them needing to dry. So I'm going to let them dry and see how much that color lightens up on the body and in the shadow. And then I will, of course, laminate, and I will come back whenever they're cut out. But this is how they look so far, right out the gate from the printer. And again, I think our little guys came out looking good, no issues. So I'll just wait for them to dry now. Our little red-eared sliders are done cutting out, so I'm ready to see how they look as a sticker. They should all be cut out, lined up, just like the sulcatas, because I didn't change anything, and it looks like they did cut out centered. But there he is, our little red-eared slider turtle. And I'm gonna have to do another sheet of these anyway, but this guy, for whatever reason, when I laminated, his laminate didn't do so good, so I only ended up with 5 good ones on this sheet instead of 6. But like I said, I'm gonna have to do another sheet of these guys as well anyway. So it's not that big of a deal. I just the trials of trying to do lamination for me. Sometimes it all goes really good, and then sometimes I end up with one that I'm gonna have to hold back. I've been doing pretty good recently, if you guys recall, in the last couple videos, without any issue. So I knew that it was gonna happen at some point, that one of them ended up having a problem, but at least it was just that one on this sheet, and it's not that bad where like it ended up messing up the whole page or something. It was just this one little guy, so I'm gonna be keeping that guy for myself. But all the other guys came out good. And like I said, I'll be doing another sheet of these, but off camera. But there's how they turned out. And now we can move on to our final turtle. And it is a turtle, it's not a tortoise. It is an actual another little turtle guy. So let me get you guys moved over and show you what our final little turtle looks like. Here is our final little turtle guy. It is the Mississippi map turtle, and I believe that these guys are relatively popular. There's still some other turtles and tortoises that I have saved that I will be making in the future, but I thought that this was another good one to start off with, just launching our section. I've seen a decent amount of them at the different shows that I've been going to recently, so I think that it's popular enough to do a sticker of for, like I said, launching this section of the shop. But he's very interesting to me, his little patterning, and he's got like a little yellow kind of deal where his ear would be, as opposed to the red-eared slider where they have the little red where their ear would be. He's got the little yellow spot. And then also I noticed that his lips end up having kind of that same yellow surrounding it. So I did try to do that. And his shell I left plainer than the other ones. If I show you some references, they're kind of all over the place with if they have detailing or not on the shell. Like this guy has very subtle detail on his shell, but then like if I go, maybe this guy is still a little bit subtle, but you can see there's kind of some little circles that end up happening on the shells. And this is a baby one, so its pattern would have changed. Like this guy, here we go. This guy's got a whole lot of swirls happening on his shell, and I didn't really want to do that and end up with him being a little too busy, because their skin pattern is already very busy. Same with their like stomach shells. So, and they also have really dark tips on these parts of the shell. I think these are like called the scoots. Don't quote me on that, I might be wrong, but they have these pieces of the shell that are right down the spine that are pointed, and the tips of those are dark. So I wanted that to kind of be emphasized on this guy, which I probably could have made it a little bit bigger, but again, it very well depends on which turtle you're looking at, whether it is big spike pronouncing with a lot of dark on the points, or if it's a little bit more subtle but still with the dark point. So I just kind of kind of winged it, I guess you could say. I took from a little bit of all my references to make this guy, and I mean, I do the same with all my other stickers as well, where I take from multiple references, but I decided I didn't want him to be too busy, so I left his shell a little bit more simple, which I hope is okay to any of the turtle lovers out there. But this is our final one for the video, the Mississippi Map Turtle. So I will go ahead and get him printed out, and again, of course, come back whenever he is printed and we can see what he looks like when he is dry and ready for the next stage. The Mississippi Map Turtles just finished. I have not gone over and looked at them yet, so let us go over here and look. And here's my extra paper and stuff. Let's get that out of the way. And let's scooch this guy down so we can look at him flat. There you go. And I don't know what you guys are thinking, but I think he actually looks really cute. I wasn't quite sure what I was expecting it to look like whenever it printed out, especially because honestly, I wasn't 100% sold on how he was looking on the computer. But again, I don't know if that's because I just am not a super big turtle person or what it is. Where like all three of my turtles, honestly, for me, they've been stuck in that kind of, I guess what you would call like the ugly phase of art, where like you start a piece and you're like, oh, this is going to look great. Then somewhere in the middle, you're kind of like, oh, this is not looking like how I want it to turn out. So then you're like, this piece of art looks ugly. And then you end up finishing the piece and you swing back around to, oh, this looks really good. And I got out of the, oh, this looks ugly phase when I was doing it, when I was doing all three of them. And then whenever I've gone back and looked at them again, each time I've been like, ooh, why does it look a little strange to me? And I still, like I was telling you with the red ear slider, I don't know if it's just because I don't really know a whole lot about turtles, or if it really is like the proportion is wrong somehow, or like this guy, maybe I should have done some of the patterning on the shell or not. But looking at it now that he's been printed out, I think he looks okay. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure why. I've been kind of like flip-flopping almost, I guess, on specifically the Mississippi Map and the red-eared slider. The Sulcata I feel like looks fine. It looks good. The only thing with that one is maybe I should have made the spikes or the spurs stick out of the silhouette. But that's really the only thing that I could think of that I would have an issue with for that one. But like these two, the red-eared slider and the Mississippi Map, I've been like on the fence about, I guess. But I think now that I have them printed out, I'm happy with them. It's just, for whatever reason, when I've pulled up their file each time on the computer, I've had that initial reaction where I'm like, what exactly is it that I'm seeing that I'm not quite confident on? I don't know. Maybe you guys are seeing it, or maybe you guys aren't seeing it and you're like, these turtles look fine. I don't know. But I think that this guy actually printed out really, really good. So I'm going to let him dry just like I did with the red-eared slider. He looks like he's probably not going to need to dry as much as the other one, which is kind of strange because I thought that his body color, his actual like skin color being that dark would need a little bit more drying. But I think that that dark green on the red-eared slider actually ended up coming out a little wetter wetter than this guy. So don't really know how all that works, but I will let him dry and come back to you guys whenever he has been cut out by the Cricut. Okay guys, our very last turtle of this video just finished cutting out, and I don't feel like putting my camera back down to show you guys me pulling the paper off, but it's time to see how they did, and it looks like they did good. Cutting out, they all seem like they are perfectly centered and fully cut out. I don't see any problems with these, and I'm not seeing any laminate problems. These guys, since they are smaller than the other ones, I was able to get 8 of them on a page, so that also is really good. But there we go. That's how those guys came out, and they look kind of funny. Kind of like they're, I don't know, with their little foot like that in the back, splayed out like that. They just look really kind of silly like that. It's kind of like a, like the pose that turtles do when they're basking on top of a rock, where they'll splay their back feet out sometimes. But I don't know. They're little cute little silly kind of looking turtles. So they all came out good though. Here they are. As you can see, they all cut out and they all laminated good. So now I guess we can officially open our turtle section on the shop, get those posted up there, and then we can start adding to that pile of turtles. And I guess that means we can mark it off of our whiteboard that I have over here. As you can see, we have our moth section, our spider section, and now we will have our turtle section. So let me go ahead and get our pen out and let us check mark that one off, because all I need to do now is just take the picture, and I will go ahead and get those uploaded either today or tomorrow, but I'll just go ahead and get them marked off so that you guys can see that it has officially been marked off in the video. And now we have all of these done. That means that we actually need to start a new list on here, because we started doing the new morphs and stuff of our snakes and lizards, but I don't know if I want to keep doing those where I get all of the morphs rolled out for those and then start the new snakes and reptiles, because I do have a bunch of other snakes and lizards and frogs and turtles and all that already in the works or finished and waiting in the wings, so I need to figure that out now. But for today, we have our turtles done. So that's exciting. Let me go ahead and do our final little look at our turtles, and then we will get to our outro. And here they are, our 3 turtles / tortoise of today. That is opening up our new section of our shop. I am actually really happy with how they look all 3 together now. Our little Mississippi map is really small. Not like really, really small, but I just didn't realize how much smaller it was than the other 2, which makes sense because I believe that it is actually in real life smaller than the other 2, so that's kind of fun. But yeah, here they are, all done, and I'm very happy with how they came out. I think that this one, I could have maybe done some of the pattern on the shell, but I didn't want it to get too busy. So I think it's okay that I left simple on the back, since it does have the points on its, I believe those are called the scoots of the shell. That's the dorsal. Those would be the dorsal scoots, though, the ones along the spine. And then this guy, I'm happy with him. I like how all of his stuff came out. And this guy, his green kind of came out a little bit darker, I feel like, than I thought it would. Or maybe that is how it looked on the computer. I don't know. It looks a little bit darker to me somehow, but I might be mistaken. But either way, overall, I'm happy with how they look now as stickers, now that they're already printed and cut out. So that's going to be all that we do in this video. So let me go ahead and head on over to our outro corner, and I guess maybe talk about what I'll do next video. I'm not sure what I'll do next video. I gotta figure that out. But let's head on over to our little outro now. Alright guys, back in my recording corner. Like I said, this is going to be the outro. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video of us finally getting to our turtles and getting that section all set up. As I mentioned, I do have some more turtles in the works, and I do have some other reptiles / amphibians, and then some more flowers and moths and spiders on the way as well. But I need to figure out what it is that I'm going to be doing next for the shop. I have, of course, the other morphs that I'll keep rolling out for the reptiles that I do have. I already have all of those done and waiting. But I need to start figuring out what other ones I want to be putting out there. I don't know if I want to just get all of those morphs out of the way, or if I want to start moving on to the new stuff. I might do that, or I start moving on to the new stuff, and then in between, as I have been doing in the past, putting out the morphs as kind of like tie-overs almost. So we'll see. We'll see what I end up doing for the next video. But I did go ahead and also, while I was over there, record a couple orders that I got in that I needed to go ahead and get packaged up. So if you guys like content like that, it will be on my TikTok, which will be down in the description, as well as my Etsy shop, of course, where you can actually purchase some of my stickers or bookmarks for yourself down there, or for a gift. I've actually been getting a lot of my sales have been gift purchases for somebody else, so I think that's really cool. I'm glad that people think that they're good enough to be used as a gift for someone, and I've really enjoyed reading the reviews that people leave whenever they do get it for a gift. So my Etsy shop link will be down there that you can use to purchase an item on. My TikTok is down there for my packaging content, and that's also where I showcase my new stickers. So the turtles that I just printed today will actually be getting a debut on my TikTok and on my Instagram, which will be down in the description as well. That's where I do a lot of my announcements for what is new going up on the shop, as well as my shop email, my business email will be down in the description as well. So all of those links will be down there. And then, of course, if you liked this video, if you like turtles, or you want to be seeing more styles of videos like this, then don't forget to leave a like. Leave a comment down below telling me what you want to see next, or your thoughts, just saying hello, leaving your own sort of what you make on Etsy, or if you're a small business owner, what you do in general, what your hobby is, if you have a pet, reptile, or any pet in general. Whatever you want to leave down there in the comments, feel free to do so. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you can continue on this journey with me. And go ahead and click the bell if you want to get notified for when I do upload my next video. And yeah, the next video is going to be a surprise to me too, because I need to figure out what it's going to be. But I think that's all the things that I need to say. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, YouTube!